Bitcoin is an ideology that spawned a protocol that created an asset that circulates on a network. The ideology is sovereignty, sound money, freedom and property rights, right? Dignity of the human spirit, ownership of your life force, economic sovereignty and immortality. That's the ideology of Bitcoin. And Satoshi gave us that.
Altcoins come and go, narratives change, but Bitcoin is the truth. The hardest money the world has ever seen. I've thought about it long and hard, about the pros, the cons, dug deep, questioned everything. At the end of the day, you gotta make up your own damn mind. Me, I have conviction. This is freedom. Let's go. I'm a Bitcoin Max.
All right, legends, welcome to another live stream. Let me just put the music here softly in the background. Let's go. And there we go. Right, legends, remember to smash up that like button on your way in. I see there's not a lot of people here in the live stream just as yet, but I'm sure people will start trickling in. For those of you watching right now, welcome. Beautiful Wednesday, 20 past 2 in the afternoon here in South Africa. Could be evening or morning from wherever you are, from around the world. As per the thumbnail, Bitcoin has finally broken out and left this boring range behind. Okay, and are we going to see some explosive momentum here to the upside? Because there's two scenarios that I want to highlight over here that's starting to carry the highest probability. Out of all the scenarios, the Elliott wave scenarios, taking the low, taking the high, there's two scenarios that's really starting to narrow it down in terms of what Bitcoin's next move could be. Okay, right, legends, now let's dive into the technical analysis. So, I'm here on the 4-hour time frame, and something interesting to point out over here is we have broken out from a trend, a very important trend. Let me just take this one out. I still got an alarm here. Let me delete this alarm. Don't need that anymore. Right. Okay, first breakout was this little one over here. And Bitcoin really likes to break out where the low is so damn low, right? You're too scared to play the breakout. Okay, but anyways, we got the breakout over here, but this is the one that is very interesting. So let me take this trend out the way. Don't need that. Let's take the brushes here out the way. And this is the structure that I now want to focus on. You can see, okay, that Bitcoin has broken out. It did a couple of retests beautifully at the trend. Okay, it formed this bullish pennant. And now it broke out as per the thumbnail. That's why I put the title. Bitcoin broke out. How high could we go? Right? Is this the moment? Because I'm seeing these bullish pennants everywhere on most of the altcoins as well. I'm seeing these little bullish pennants. Okay, Moon River, okay, not so much. It's something that GRT, okay, if I, just to show you guys a couple of examples, and I'm sure there's many more. They're forming these little, they're breaking out of major trends and they're forming these bullish pennants. Theta, exactly the same thing. They're forming these bullish pennants. Right, Bitcoin did the same thing over here. Now the question is this going to be a fake out? I know. It's never easy, right? Is this going to be a fake out? So the one thing I want to highlight here is let's go on to the 1 hour time frame. Guys, this is not going to be a long live stream. Okay, there's not really much to talk about over here, but I'll go through the comments, answer some questions. Okay, but let's first analyze this little structure that we have broken out at the moment. For now, this is a beautiful 5-wave structure to the upside. Okay, 3, 4, 5. Okay, and after a 5-wave structure, what you want to see is a 3-wave corrective structure. Well, I mean, you don't get any better than this. 1, 2, 3-wave corrective structure. Beautiful retest of the trend. So after a 5-wave move, when you get a 3-wave corrective structure, now that is sexy, right? That is opening up the door to some scenarios that we need to pay attention to. Okay, maybe I should start with the most bullish case scenario. Mr. Gold Star, welcome here to the live stream. Okay, let me start with the most insane bullish case scenario. So there is a Elliott wave scenario that I have highlighted where the low could be in. This could be the low. Bitcoin has broken out. It's done the beautiful retest on a 3-wave structure, and now it's formed the first 1, 2, and it's now going to start rampaging here to the upside in a 3rd wave, then a 4, and then a 5. Right, so the most bullish case scenario is the low is in. We have a beautiful 5-wave structure to the upside. This was a 3-wave corrective structure, okay, because corrective structures needs to be 3-wave corrective structures, increasing the probability to carry on momentum to the upside. So we can go and calculate, well, if this is a true 5-wave structure here to the upside. Guys, I'm going to get to the bearish case scenario, right? Because we always have to look at both sides of the coin. But let's entertain the most insane bullish case scenario where we say the low is in. This is a 5-wave structure to the upside, a 3-wave corrective structure. It's broken trend. It broke out of the bullish pennant, and now it is off to the races. Okay, and I'll get to the bearish case scenario in a moment. So what I like to do is to take a trend-based fib from the low of the structure to the high, and then to the low of number 2, and I drag it across, and I reverse this back to the upside. The 1.618 is a very common 3rd wave target. So now I'm looking at this structure as a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, this is the most insane bullish structure to the upside, right? Let me make this the primary over here. Let's make this the primary. Put in the lines so everyone can see. So this is the most bullish case scenario. There's a chance that this structure can go and smack $120,000, $125,000 easy. Okay, and the 1.618 that I've highlighted here for the 3rd wave is regarded as the common target, the bearish target actually, because the 3rd wave can continue, guys. It can continue. It can really rocket here to the upside like there's no tomorrow. It can go to the 2.618, the 3.618, the 4.618. So this is the most bullish case scenario where Bitcoin has created the low. It's created its first wave in a 5-wave structure. That's what you want to see. And now from this low, what you want to see is a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 3-wave corrective structure like you saw over here, and another 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is how insane this structure could get here to the upside. So we just need to be prepared. There's a chance that the low is in, okay? And we are going to go and smack 125, let's say $130,000 even. Okay, and there is an Elliott wave scenario that supports it. So if I look at the structure here on the 1 hour time frame, okay, it's not done. That's the one I want to talk about just now, right? Local. There we there we go. WXY completed. Right. I messed these things around during my last live stream, and there we go, right? WXY, which is completed, right? Where you formed basically a three-wave structure in a W, okay, an A, B, C, D, E, and an X, and you had a three-wave structure to complete your Y wave. So there's a chance that this could be the low. Now it's broken trend. It has not lost the trend. It's a five-wave structure to the upside, three-wave corrective structure, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside to complete your third wave. Okay. Right. Then, legends, there is another scenario. Okay, so let me take this out the way, delete it, take this one out the way, where the WXY or the corrective structure is not finished. It's the one that I prefer, but I am keeping an open mind in terms of, well, you know, shallow retracement. Okay, you guys know the deal, shallow retracement. Let's go here onto the 4 hour time frame, because this is something that we spoke about so often. With this momentum here to the upside, you guys remember all the damn shallow retracements. Okay, the pump, the shallow retracement, 0.236, the pump, the shallow retracement. None of these retracements hits the 0.382, which is a minimum retracement target, okay? And then we spoke about this scenario a couple of weeks ago. We spoke about a scenario to say that, well, if this is the top, okay, how funny would it be that when you take a fib from the low to the high, okay, how funny would it be that now that this entire structure, okay, has corrected itself, it did not tap the 0.382, okay, and it just leaves without everyone that's waiting for these areas over here. Okay, that is a scenario we spoke about many times a couple of weeks ago, many times, and I said, guys, there's a chance, because each corrective structure after each impulse, okay, has left the people behind that was waiting for lower levels. And now we have an impulse to the upside, a corrective structure that makes sense from a timing perspective, because if I take a time fib from the low to the high, you can see that this low was made after the 618, which is perfectly fine as long as the low is made after the 0.382. And I'm sure a lot of you remember, okay, when Bitcoin made this low, I said it's not over yet. It's not over, right? Because everyone was waiting for the break of this trend. Okay, low is in. The structure has corrected itself. We're going to go to the moon from here. And I said, guys, I'm concerned. I'm really concerned. I don't believe that this is the low, or at least the end of the corrective structure. And then what happened? We fell back down, made a fresh low, but still did not tap the 0.382. Okay, but now this is a much better low, because from a timing perspective, the ratios are more in balance. Okay. If you want a perfect ratio, okay, the 1-to-1 extension needs to be tapped. Okay, and this is exactly the same thing that I said over here, guys. It's not to say that the corrective structure needs to make another low, but you want the correction to continue sideways. Okay, so we do have a low at least now after the 0.382, also after the 618. So maybe this corrective structure is not done, but it does not have to take the low. Okay, because this could still be a W, X, and now we're finishing up Y. And I'm going to explain that structure in a moment in a little bit more detail, where you form a higher low and then off to the races you go. But then this low will be made at the 1-to-1 extension. So if you want perfect symmetry between an impulse and a corrective structure, it's the 1-to-1. That is perfect symmetry. It means that your impulse and your correction is exactly the same length in time. So if the impulse took 1 day, the correction took 1 day. If the impulse took 1 month, the correction takes 1 month. That's basically what the time fib tells you. Okay, so nothing is ever perfect in trading, but from a minimum perspective, when I usually see an impulse to the upside, I do not long the lows if it's made before the 0.382. Because there's a high chance that that little low is not the end of the correction, and then this happened. Okay, do you guys see why I love my time fibs? I don't see a lot of Elliott wave traders except for Andy and myself talking about and educating on the relationship from a timing perspective between impulses and corrective structures. It is very important for me as a technical trader. Right, because if I did not know about time, maybe I would have longed the crap out of this like the whole of retail and said, okay, well, here we go, right? We're going to claim the highs, go to $130,000, and then miserably get stopped out again and frustrated. Right, so let me talk about the scenario, the bearish case scenario. Let's talk about the bearish, okay? But just to wrap this up, how crazy would it be? Okay, I would actually love to see this. How crazy would it be for price not to take this low, not to tap the 0.382? Exactly what happened during every single retracement. Okay, now that the entire impulse is finished and it has corrected itself, I can just imagine, okay, most technical traders, they're saying, okay, well, at least I will start DCAing into a swing position when the 0.382 gets hit. Maybe a little bit more at the 50%, a little bit more at the 618, and then my final limit order will be at the 786. So this is where they build their positions. And now you front run it, okay, and you continue to the upside, forcing these people to buy in at higher levels. Exactly what happened over here. So just a scenario to keep in mind. I think it would be absolutely hilarious, right? Because I do think that there are a lot of people, technical traders, institutions waiting for this zone. And what if they don't get it? Okay, so let's talk about the bearish case scenario. So let me go back here onto the 1 hour time frame. I will go through the comments in a moment. Mr. Jack, Dewald and Legends, welcome. Mr. Crypto Big Brain, smash up the like. Yes. Godfather, KDA down like 60% from December. Whew. Yeah, I mean, the altcoins have taken an absolute beating. Crypto Fart, please start with bearish. Okay, well, I'm going to go through the bearish case scenario now. Right, so let's look at this structure from a bearish perspective. Okay. Now, WXY, which is not done. This is the bearish case scenario, Legends, where we basically still, you have a 3-wave structure in a W. You have an A, B, C in an X, a flat. You basically have a flat. A, B, C, flat in an X. And now your Y wave still needs to complete itself in another 3-wave structure. Okay, so you need an A, B, C to complete your Y wave. So this is the bearish case scenario. And you might be asking, well, Dewald, this move up is a 5-wave structure. Okay, so let's zoom into this structure over here. Remember, guys, a C wave is a 5-wave structure. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. C wave, done, balances. An A wave can be a 3-wave structure. 1, 2, 3. Now, this B wave has to be a 3-wave structure. It's not allowed to be a 5-wave structure. And it has an invalidation to the upside. So what you would want to see here is a 3-wave structure in a B wave. If it's going to do this, and it's now a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, invalidated, then there's a higher chance that the low is in and we're going to continue momentum to the upside. It's not allowed to create a 5-wave structure. So this is something that I'm going to be very carefully paying attention to. Okay, also, just want to see something over here. A, B, C. Okay, right. So also for this little B wave here to the upside, A, B, just want to see something. If I take a fib from this high, A, just want to drag this across, reverse this to the upside. Okay. There's your B flat targets, ladies and gentlemen. There is your B flat targets, right? There's a couple of ways in which you can do this fib pool. Okay, there's a couple of ways, because you can also look at this as an A wave here to the downside. This is still part of the B, but I'm going to explain that now. So let me switch on my point of controls. Okay. It's actually basically the same levels. So in order to calculate a B flat target, okay, if we are going to form a three-wave structure in B, okay, this is where price has to reject. Maximum targets. These are the maximum B flat targets. It has to reject here. If it taps the 1.618, B is invalidated. Or not invalidated, it starts to carry much lower probability for a C wave to the downside. And remember, a C wave has to be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure. Now, this is the question, okay? This is the question. Price could make a higher low and not take that low, okay? Or it could sweep up the lows and find support in this zone. And this is also something that I spoke about during my previous live streams. These two areas, or this area, let's just call it, this area is a very interesting zone for a swing long position. And I do realize that I might not get it, okay, based on the bullish case scenario that I've just highlighted. But if price does fall here to these areas, this is where I'm going to be very interested in opening up a swing position on Bitcoin. Right, in order to calculate, let me just take the point of controls out, clean up the chart a little bit over here. So let me take this out the way. You might be asking yourself, Dewald, how do you get this target? Okay, it's A. You need to look at your A wave over here, your three-wave structure, A wave. That's how you get your B flat targets. Okay, so you take your trend-based fib from the start of A to the end of A. You drag it across. You might have to reverse it if your levels are to the downside. You just go and click the reverse button, like I always do. Go click on reverse. Okay. So if your trend-based fib looks like this, you just go and select it, click on reverse. Okay. So let's put a box in there. Between the 1.382, okay. Unfortunately, B waves has many targets, guys. It doesn't even have to claim the highs. That's the problem, right? B waves are an absolute nightmare to trade. We don't know how high they are going to go, but I do acknowledge that there is a massive amount of liquidity that for some reason dried up in like 2 hours. Okay, I want to show you guys this. Let me just put my face here in the corner so you can all see. This morning when I woke up and I looked at this liquidity heat map, there was a massive amount of liquidity here above the highs. Way more than what you are seeing right now. Because 2 hours later when I went in, I was like, where did the liquidity go? It was like a golden solid pocket. It just disappeared. Right? So maybe the smart money or the people that's about to get liquidated over here, maybe they know about something, okay? Right? Maybe they went long. They took out their shorts because there was way more liquidity over here. But regardless, there is still a nice little liquidity pool of 130 million. 109 million, 99 million. So you're looking at about, say, roughly 300, 400 million of liquidity still here to the upside. But you can see that most of the liquidity, regardless of whether it's dried up, still lies to the upside. Okay, so it would be nice for this structure to go and claim the highs if it wants to still fall down. Grab the liquidity, fall to the downside. Okay, so which supports this scenario because this is where the liquidity lies, above the high. Okay, inside of a B flat box. Between the 1.236 and the 1-to-1 extension these are, guys, so that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to claim that high. This is definitely a Fibonacci level that I will be paying attention to, the 1-to-1 extension, because it could make a three-wave structure and we're like, okay, it's going to grab the liquidity and then it falls down. Right, so Bitcoin's not out of the woods just as yet. So this is the bearish case scenario, legends, is from a simplicity perspective, okay, you want a 3-wave structure, tap in the box and get a 5-wave structure to the downside. I don't know how low the C wave is going to go. It's either going to create a higher low, okay, or it's going to create an aggressive 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave structure here to the downside. But I will know when the structure is coming to an end when I can count clear 5 waves inside of the structure. And I do have my levels here to the downside where I'm looking for a long. If we do claim this low, okay, and maybe we give some of the market makers what they are waiting for, or the institutions waiting for the 0.382 to be tapped, I do have levels over here where I'm definitely going to be looking for a long. And I can get into a long with extreme good risk management, open up a swing trade and have a protected position. Right. Okay. Then I think we have some, I think you guys are pointing out something very important. We also have some levels. Let me go and switch on daily levels. Ooh, we have a daily level at the 1-to-1 extension. Okay, beautiful daily level at the 1-to-1 extension. So guys, do not be surprised. These B waves, I'm trying to think what to call them, okay? In Elliott wave theory, when you learn about B waves and the structures and especially the market psychology behind B waves, is a lot of Ellioticians, people that specifically trade only using Elliott wave theory, when they identify a B wave, they don't trade. They stay out of the market because it's the most difficult wave to trade inside of Elliott wave theory. And the reason for that is because it has so many targets. Okay, to put it into perspective, guys, is that, you know, this one looks juicy because we have a daily level. So, you know, when you start aligning confluences with some of the fib levels, then you're like, okay, now that's where I'm going to be paying attention. If it doesn't reject over here, okay, well, then I'm going to be paying attention to this box. If it taps this daily level in alignment with the 1.618, okay, it significantly decreases the probabilities that this is a B wave, and you're most probably looking at that bullish structure where you're going up for a third wave. Okay, it's very rare that you see a B wave tap the 1.618. It doesn't invalidate it, but it does impact the probabilities. Okay, right, so very interesting to see where we are. Just want to see something over here. Right, cool. So let me take that Fibonacci out the, whoops, wait. Let me take this out the way. But now you guys have the deal. Okay, so to put it into perspective, from a B wave perspective, okay, if I take a fib from the high to the low, just to put it into perspective, and now we have the box there as well at the 1-to-1 extension. So this is a B wave target. 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 0.88 also a beautiful B wave target. That the high, also a B wave target. Then you get the 1.05, also a B wave target. Then you get the 1.236, and then you get the 1.382. This is the reason why most Ellioticians do not trade B waves. They have just too many targets. It's a mess, right? They rather stay out of the market, and they will rather trade the impulses, the C waves, the WXYs, what they will trade anything except an X wave and a B wave. They are the most complex corrective structures. Right, so what I'm trying to highlight over here, as legends, is at least I am looking, in the bearish case scenario, I am looking for a 3-wave structure. Okay, and this is the zone where it can reject. If there's no rejection in the zone and we tap the daily level at $110,000, 235, you increase the probabilities that we are going to go higher. Okay, it doesn't have to happen in a straight line. Remember, guys, okay, it doesn't have to happen in a straight line. So what do I mean by that is, let's say price moves up here and it rejects. Okay, it can still reject even if it taps the invalidation for the B wave. Okay, and then it can continue. So even with the retracement, If you reject here at $110,000, 235, you tap the 1.618, you increase the probabilities that even with a retracement, you are going to find upwards momentum. Okay, then this becomes a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 to the upside. Okay, let me go through some comments. Say hi to the community. And before I do so, remember guys, down in the description, the WOW competition is running. If you don't know what the WOW competition is, it is the war of the whales here on Bluffin. The war of the whales. There's still 12 days left, and I am trading like a crazy person. Well, the last week has been absolutely frustrating. Okay, I've been trading like a crazy person, and if you want to join me, the Bitcoin Census team, if you want to join myself and Andy and the Bitcoin Census team, okay, this is the second link here below Bluffin. This is where you sign up. You can get 20% cash back on the money that you deposit in your features account. And this is where you register for the competition. Weeks also still has the 20% cash back. And you get 25% discount on your trading fees, and you are automatically a VIP 1. They assign a VIP 1 status to your name. So nice little upgrade if you join, if you use this link to register on Weeks. Okay, cool. If you guys would like to join our Legends Pro community, okay, this is where I spend a lot of my time. I actually gave a video update this morning, very similar to what I'm sharing over here. I do have some things that I need to take care of a little bit later, so I can't do a live stream later, but here I am, right, Legends? This is also your way to support the channel. Okay, I do get a lot of personal messages from people saying that, Dewald, we love your free education. If there was only a way I can repay you, okay? If there's ever a way that you want to repay me, okay? Yeah, you guys, if you trade with these links that costs you nothing extra, where you qualify for the biggest sign-up bonuses and lowest trading fees, this is how you support the channel. Okay, if you want, FYI, if you wanted to know, right? Cool. Let me go through the comments. Hello, Mr. Big Brains. How you doing, sir? Mr. Goldstar in the house over here. BR surprises. Yes. Hishan, B waves, they are a nightmare to trade. Okay, something that I want to point out something over here, guys. This little low over here, this little low, okay, was highlighted to the Legends Pro community. Okay, I'm not sure if I spoke about this low in my previous live stream, but what a beautiful bounce. Okay, and I know that some of the pro members took this long. Okay, with good risk management. I attempted the long, got stopped out, went to bed, and then the level that I actually wanted to play the long from got hit. So I will zoom in here and I'll explain to you guys what happened over here. But some of the legends caught that little tippy top, that little tippy bottom. They caught it. They caught it. Okay? You just need to know how to draw your Fibonacci's, okay, and how to count the waves here to the downside. We have the daily at the 1-2. Yes, Junior, thanks for highlighting it. I just saw it now. This daily level here at the 1-to-1 extension. Beautiful. Okay, definitely an area you need to be paying attention. Okay, how interesting would it be to form a three-wave structure here? Okay, 1, 2, 3. Reject before you claim the high. Okay, because I can imagine people playing this breakout and people playing this breakout. Okay, they at least, or people that even caught the low over here, they at least want this high to be claimed. Can you imagine it rejects by the daily without claiming the high, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it just smacks back down to the downside. Okay, I would like to see some weakness over there, some bearish CVD, but at the moment CVD looks extremely bullish. I'm not going to lie, it looks extremely bullish. It's absolutely just tanking here to the downside. There are some local bearish CVD I can see between those two pivots, but I'm not going to spend too much time on CVD right now. Right, there is Whale who opened short for 217 million. Does he know something or what? Whales don't know, haha. Yes, Sam, $217 million short. Right? Well, it depends on the leverage that he used and where the liquidation is, okay? Because the bearish case scenario is valid, okay? The bearish case scenario is that we could fall down here in a 5-wave structure. But you could still claim this high. So I'm not sure what the leverage is, because maybe it gets liquidated before it falls down. Okay, you just never know. But I'm not seeing any weakness in CVD at the moment, which tells me, and also this is not a completed three-wave structure, because remember guys, in a B wave, you want to see a completed, I'm going to get to that in a moment. Okay, in a B wave, if this is A, and now we're going up for B, and then we're going to go down for C, in a B wave, you want to see three waves, and I only see a straight line up. This is just a straight line up. Finally, we're getting a little bit of a reaction. So this could be a little bit of a retracement, and then you're going to get another wave to the upside. So you want to see a three-wave structure. Regardless of where it rejects, you want to see a three-wave structure in a B, because a B is not allowed to be a five-wave structure. This is the only bearish case scenario that I have. Just saying, right? Okay. We literally have 10k Bitcoin wall from 100, and we are not going anywhere this summer. Why record? Okay, well, you know, it's a very interesting scenario. So you're basically saying that the bearish case scenario could be the higher probable scenario. Okay, we still keep on ranging, and I mean, definitely a possibility to take the low. So I also prefer the bearish case scenario, but I, as a technical trader, need to consider all scenarios, and depending on how price develops and what levels it hits to invalidate other scenarios, I will quickly change my tune. Okay, I would like to see this. I would love to see this. Love it, love it, love it, love it. But I realize I might not get it. Okay, and I do have my invalidations. So at the end of the day, I don't care if it's summer, winter, autumn, what the news is saying and who's making war and shooting missiles and rockets at each other. I just care about technical analysis, because based on how this structure develops, I know what levels to take longs and shorts from. That's all I care about. Okay, so I can just imagine if price comes up here, okay, let's say it rejects perfectly in the box and it falls here to the downside, and when price started falling here, there's another news article, Trump did this, or Ukraine shot another missile, or, you know, two new countries are at war with each other. Well, I can tell you guys now, we anticipated this from a technical analysis perspective. Okay, the news came afterwards. Right. Now guys, what I quickly want to do here is, you might be asking yourself, well, how did the legends, how did the pro community catch that? How on earth did they catch that level? Okay, there was two scenarios that I was watching. Okay, and this is what I explained in my update this morning to the Legends Pro community as well. The first scenario that I was watching, let's just take the trend here out the way. Okay, as price was chopping, very boring here to the downside. Okay, there was two scenarios that I was watching. The first scenario was a contracting diagonal. I think Andy spoke about this scenario in his live stream also. Okay, where you basically have formed a 1, okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Anyways, I didn't like this structure for a 1 wave, but nonetheless, it did not get invalidated. You have a 2, you have a 3, 4, 5. Now this 5 invalidated the structure for me. It invalidated it because in a contracting diagonal, your 5th wave is not allowed to be longer than your 3rd wave. So when I take a fib, let's just do this, zoom in. Let me show you. If I take a fib and measure the 3rd wave, how long was the 3rd wave? Okay, that's the length of my 3rd wave. Now I'll go measure my 5th wave. Just reverse this to the downside compared to my 3rd wave. Okay, the 5th wave tapped the 1-to-1 extension, which means that your 5th wave is exactly the same length as your 3rd wave. And in a contracting diagonal, this is not what you want to see. I wanted the 5th wave to stop here by the 786. That's usually a common target in a contracting diagonal. Your 5th wave taps the 786. So it's fine if it breaks the trend, but because it tapped the 1-to-1, not a beautiful scenario. Then someone else inside of our Legends Pro community highlighted this scenario, okay, and I really liked it. Okay, this is the one that I liked the most, this one. Dewald, what if this is a WXY here to the downside and Y wave is making a double zigzag? I said, oh, now this looks way more interesting, because when I count the internal structures, they balance way better than a contracting diagonal. Okay, but you guys can see it's a three-wave structure. Okay, the mess is inside. How do you count it? But a three-wave structure, okay, without me counting the internal structures, okay, a WXY has targets. So I took a fib from the high to the low of W to the high of X. I dragged it across and I posted it to the pro community. That's what I did, right? And I said, guys, I don't know, I can't remember exactly where price was. It was either here, it was still falling, or it was in this zone. But I said, pay attention, okay, to these levels. Pay attention, because these are Y wave targets. And I entered at the 1-to-1 extension. My first long trade was over here because we got a reaction. My stop was below the low. We moved up. I took 10% profits just to cover my fees. And what I did is I protected my position. And I posted inside of the Legends Pro community. Not sure if you guys got in at the 1-to-1 extension. Okay. But if I get stopped, okay, this is what I said for the pro members. You know, this is what I said. If I get stopped, I'm really interested in the 1.236. And the reason I was so interested in this level is because we also have a point of control at this level. So we have an additional area of confluence. Okay. So I got stopped out with 10% profits at least. Okay, so it's a break-even trade for me. Break-even trade, I got stopped out. And then I had an alarm right above the 1.236 so that I can pay attention. My alarm went off because I was already in bed, guys. I was already in bed. My alarm went off and then I saw this. I was like, nope, not interested. Tried to stare at my phone for a couple of minutes and fell back asleep. Okay, I want my level to be tapped. It did not get tapped. So I fell back asleep, and then while I was sleeping, this happened. And if I was awake, definitely a zone where I'm interested. A beautiful swing failure pattern. Even on the 5-minute time frame, it left a beautiful wick behind. Now that is a SFP that you just have to take. Right? When price dips in, it gets acceptance back above and it starts trading to, even if you're late, guys, okay, you put your stop loss below the low. As price moves to the upside, you can then protect position, okay, wherever you got the entry. Right, and you pay yourself as soon as you start eating the VWAP, okay, you just start paying yourself to the upside. Right, so this is how some of the Legends Pro, some of the Pro members caught this low over here. This is how they caught it. Damn, I was sleeping. Damn it. Right, so I'm in no trade at the moment, guys. I'm in absolute no trade at the moment. What I would be interested in is I would like to see a nice trend form over here. Okay, if I can spot me a nice little trend over here, if it builds a nice little trend, okay, and it respects the trend, I will consider playing a breakout because I know that it has to form a three-wave structure, at least a three-wave structure. Okay, it would be very strange for price to stop here and just fall, okay, because this is just a straight line to the upside. You need another wave. You need the connector and you need another wave at least. Okay, I don't know how high this wave is going to go, but I can attempt a long trade, protect position for momentum to the upside. Right, for now, it's just not a trading zone for me at the moment. Right, damn, I'm late. I hope I'm not absent. Step for one, welcome. Is anyone else having trouble viewing this stream? Guys, let me know, because here on my side, it says excellent connection, mic quality is good, stream quality is good. Let me know, guys. Everything looks great here on my side. Right. Legends, and that's basically what I have here. I see not a lot of people are joining the stream. I see Andy's live stream views are also down the drain. Like most YouTube influencers, I've seen the views have gone down significantly. Retail is not here. No one's interested in Bitcoin anymore, especially not altcoins. Okay. yeah, that's basically it from my side, guys. All good. Thanks, Irina. It's good, Dewald. BTC boss. Okay, it's all good. Right. So maybe, just reboot the Wi-Fi maybe on your side. And legends, that is basically it from my side. There's not much more to say. Okay. There's always those what if scenarios, guys. There's always the what if scenarios. What if price just tanks? Okay, then it is what it is. It's something that I didn't expect from a technical perspective, but I can tell you guys now, I do have levels to the downside that I'm still keeping an eye on. I just want to switch on 15-minute. Okay, so let's take out all the levels. Chip, clean up the chart and trading zones. I still have this structure, okay? And these were the zones that I was watching for a bounce, okay? And inside my longing zone, which I have not moved, we got the bounce. We got the bounce inside of my longing zone. And this is a picture that I have shared with the Legends Pro community for the last week because price has just been going sideways. Very boring price action. I said, guys, this is where I'm interested to short. Can you guys see still inside of that box? This is the zone that I'm interested in short, and I was also interested in that short. My box was first over here, okay? And that was the only short that I took. That was the only short that I took because it tapped a naked point of control. And then I updated my box and I said, okay, well, now that we've tapped that level, I'm looking for another one a little bit further up. Let me just redo this. There we go. Okay, so if I switch on my point of controls, okay, you guys can see, well, this is the zone that I'm now looking for a short, okay? We got the bounce in the long zone, and I can tell you guys now, I am not really interested in a trade in this zone. Not interested. I will most probably do nothing if price comes back into this zone. This is where I get interested. We have a weekly level there. There's a weekly level. There's a VRVP, there's a naked point of control. Okay, so this is the box where I'm going to get interested in a long. I'm not really interested in any trade over here. There's a gap in volume. I think if price reaches this zone, if it had to fall down here, it's going to slice until it gets to this area. But can you see? There's no price action to support price over here. So it needs to find a consolidation area to slow down. So if price gets aggressive here to the downside, it's a no trade zone for me, that. Okay. Dewald, where is a long position if this pullbacks? And crypto big brains, and that's now the difficult thing for me is that, we work so hard, okay, and we wait so patiently to get these longs. Okay, and there was also a nice little trend breakout, okay, that you could have played over there, the trend breakout. So if you did not catch the long there, you did not catch the long here, okay, this becomes very difficult for me to long. This is actually a shorting zone, naked point of control. You can see where price is getting the reaction is at resistance, naked point of control. So this is actually a shorting zone. So for me, the only way that I will jump into a long is if a trend starts to form. If I can spot me a nice little trend, like what happened there, okay, I want to see a nice little trend form over here, I will play the breakout. That's the only long that I will consider. But at the moment, there's no trend. It's still very fresh. Okay, it needs to consolidate a little bit longer. I want to see a proper trend form over there. And you're going to have to jump into the smaller time frames, like the 5-minute. I won't go lower than the 5-minute. Price needs to form a nice little trend so that I can apply my trading strategy. So if it forms a nice little trend, I can play the breakout. If it just does crazy things over here and there's no trend, there's just no long trade for me to be taken over here. Okay. It just is what it is at the moment. Right. I mean, you can be creative and take out your Fibonacci levels from the low to the high. And what you can do is, okay, you can see that you got a reaction at the 0.236. So there was a longing opportunity. You could SFP that line. If it comes back down, okay, there's a nice little pivot over there together with a 382. So if you want to play the SFPs and don't wait for the trend, well, there was a longing opportunity. If it rejects and falls back down, well, there's a longing opportunity. Okay, I do like that little consolidation area here at the 618. I'm not sure if we're going to get that low because we're already getting a reaction at the very shallow retracement. So it could be a 1, 2, 3. Okay, just continues from here. But yeah, I'm not interested in a long over here because maybe if I saw that earlier, I would have given it an attempt. Because you can, Mr. Crypto Big Brains, you know, okay, you can attempt little longs over here with exceptionally good risk management. Protect your position. If you're wrong, you just get stopped out at break even. Okay, I see how you trade there in the pro community. It's a beautiful way of trading because I love to do it as well. Guys, I can be wrong many times. Okay, I can play this long, get stopped out. I can play this long, get stopped out. I can play this long, get stopped out. But you know what? Every time I get stopped out, I'm most probably only paying trading fees. And usually when price moves in my favor like this and it starts claiming this little consolidation areas, I already start taking 10% profits to cover my fees, protect my position. So if I get stopped out, I still get stopped out with a little bit of profit. So I can be wrong 1, 2, 3, 4 times. I can get stopped out 4 times. Okay. And eventually when it moves, you catch it. Right, but you mustn't give up. You must be persistent and you must protect your position. You must enter with good risk management. Okay, I would rather be stopped out 3 or 4 times and eventually catch the big move than adding, and just hoping and praying you're not going to claim the low. Okay, that's not my style of trading. It's just to keep on adding to a position. I'd rather get stopped out. Right, legends, have yourselves an amazing day. That's unfortunately all I have for you guys over here. Not much else to talk about. Have an amazing trading day. Until the next one, links for the exchanges that I use with the biggest bonuses always down in the description if you want to support the channel. And pro members, I'll see you inside of the Discord. And until the next one, cheers for now.